Welcome to another powerful conversation in the Hidden to Heard series, where we honor the untold and the beautifully real stories of women who lead from the heart. Today, I'm truly excited to welcome Ashley Quinto-Powell. And Ashley's work is very much rooted in championing women's empowerment in the workplace. And there's so much more. Before I go any further, welcome, Ashley.
Thank you so much, Abby. I'm so excited to be here.
Good. I'm really pleased that you could make it and join us. And so I'm going to just give you a bit more information about Ashley. Ashley is a serial entrepreneur and an international speaker. She's the author of Executive Motherhood, The Art of Having It All Without Doing It All, and the founder of the virtual assistant agency myVA Rocks. She's spoken about motherhood for TEDx, AnitaB.org, the University of Chicago's Polsky Center, and there are many others as well. She lives in Madison with her husband and her two children. So now you can see why I was excited to be interviewing Ashley today. So I'm going to just dive straight into the questions. And the first one, because I know a lot of your work is very much in and around organizational culture for women. So, how can organizations make it easier for women to stay in the workforce as parents, Ashley?
Well, some of that is shifting narratives around how women want to be in the workplace. We have this sense that as soon as a woman gets pregnant, she's less interested in working, especially working as hard or as ambitiously as she had, before. Um, and actually, the evidence shows that that is exactly the opposite.
Mm,
Working mothers are more likely to be interested in upper level management. Um, they and also we tend to make a decision about big life choices based on the stability of the company that we're at and our own projection about whether the job will be here in a year or 2 years or 5 years. And actually, for small companies, I tend to build companies from the ground up, and you can tell when your business is really doing well because your employees will start getting married and having children. When you're
yeah,
really a scrappy company, people leave for stability before they make those decisions, and it's part of the
yeah.
calculation. So if you're starting to see people putting down roots, buying houses, getting
Mm,
married, getting pregnant, those are really good signs about the health of your company. And we have for so long approached that in exactly the opposite way, that we expect a woman to want to be part-time or to drop out of the workforce when she has a baby, and the opposite is many times true.
yeah, yeah, beautiful. Thank you. And I just actually wanted to ask you about, as you're the author of Executive Motherhood, the art of having it all without doing it all. Like, how did you even come up with that title? And what made you want to write a book about it?
Well, I that's a good there we tend women tend to take on so much at home, at work. We tend to be the project managers of everyone's life around us. We tend to carry the mental load of
Mm,
groceries and how many gallons of milk we have and how much toilet paper is left, and when the company Christmas party is coming, and when
yeah,
we need a team building activity. Oftentimes that is very much the mental load of women around us, and that
yes.
is unpaid, unthanked, unrecognized work that is very much in the shadows. And um, you know I firmly believe that
Mm,
the women that are around me are up to really interesting, ambitious things. And
yeah.
we cannot do the big things while we're scuffling around on these tiny things that no one is recognizing or helping us with. And the secret to my marriage and my success in business is in tapping my partner and tapping team members to do what they are best at and what they most enjoy. And it looks much less like carrying an enormous burden and more like forming a team. And at
Mhm.
least where I live in the Midwest of the United States, we're mostly like German heritage, and we are um, a group of people that are we're very scrappy and we're very resourceful. We don't ask for help ever. It's a
Yeah,
at worst it's seen as a sign of weakness. At best, it's impolite. And actually, the people around us really want to help us get where we're going, or they shouldn't be around us.
yeah,
And the beauty in building teams is that you can do so much more. And one of my favorite books is Who Not How. And in that book, and it's a
mm,
Benjamin Hardy book, but in that book, he asks, what would your goals look like if you weren't assuming that you had to do everything yourself? And
yeah,
how much bigger could they be? And it really is a profound question when you're
yeah,
thinking about your own capacity as the boundary and the limit for your own productivity. You're really shortening the 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 greatness of your goals, and
yeah,
I think we can do better.
yeah. I love that answer. Thank you. Really rich. And I think as women, we take so much on, we don't even realize the magnitude of how much we actually take on because we've almost inherited this unspoken word, like from birth. It's what we
Mhm.
go into. And so thank you for breaking that down in this way. I think one of my other questions, and it's a saying that I believe comes from you, is like one of the areas that you speak into is this, unfair expectations of women who work like they don't have kids and parent like they don't have jobs. And that
Yes.
sounds very like this is Ashley Quinto-Powell, like she's created this saying, this strap line. And so I'm just interested to like dive in a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, I don't think I came up with it, but I certainly have experienced as many of your audience has, and as
Yes.
women around the world. I mean, this is something that the expectation of women is really tough. I heard years ago, I heard this brilliant talk by a trans woman who was talking about the difficulty of being trans because, your skirt can be too short or too long. You can wear makeup, but not enough or too much. Your voice is too low
Yes.
or too high. But actually,
Yeah.
that's a universal female experience. We are criticized whether we go left or right. And so we're paralyzed in sort of a mediocre middle.
Yeah.
And that's not
Yeah.
fair. I think actually, probably one of the differences between the sexes too is that men, it's possible that those expectations are levied on them, but they just ignore them. And
Yes.
so I think we would do well to ignore those expectations a little bit too, and not care so much. Abby, you're pretty timeless, and I won't ask you how old you are, but when I turned 40, I realized that I actually do not care what anyone thinks. And it was such a
Yes.
revelation. I had more fun dressing when I was focused on looking interesting rather than thin. And
Yeah.
the things you've been hiding or afraid to do suddenly become like, well, why would I hide or be afraid to do that? It's so freeing.
Yeah. I love that. And I think you raise a really valid point there in that the the age of maturity comes when you kind of know the age of maturity comes, or this is what I believe, and it leads into what you were saying, when the validation and the judgment of others no longer bothers you. It's
Yeah.
like, this is me, this is how I look, this is what I want to wear. Accept it or not, it doesn't matter because I love myself for it. And it's just like another layer of freedom, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, thank you. So the other part of your business, because you do many things, but one of the things that you've created is the myVA Rocks. You're the founder of the virtual assistant agency. So how can VAs help executive women stay at the top of their game through parenting?
Well, I have my personal VA. I've had the VA on my personal account for 3 years. She is a part of my family. I mean, when I
Yeah,
think about the most important people in my life, she's like right. right next to my husband in terms of importance.
Yeah.
And, she does the family calendar. My kids are 10 and 12, and we're just at the ages where, goodness, everything that we're doing is driving them around, and they have a bajillion
Yeah.
activities, and there are
Yeah.
many, many moving parts. And my virtual assistant is responsible for the school calendar, the sports calendars, the music calendars, and then also for understanding who's going where and when do we need to call in grandma or a sitter, because you
Yeah.
all are expected to be in three places at once, but you have two cars and two adults. That
Yes.
there's this like, and that is an enormous burden
Yeah.
that is lifted. I've also used I was roped into coaching basketball for both of my kids' Pee Wee basketball teams.
Yeah.
And my VA helped me wrangle the snack moms. She sent the emails out that came out every Wednesday to remind everyone of the game on Saturday. And don't forget to wear your jersey, and here's where it is.
Yeah.
So all
Yeah.
of that was really taken off of my plate. But then that allowed me to show up on Saturday morning as the cheerleading coach,
Yeah.
and that was the part that I really wanted to participate in with my children, not the administrative piece. And that's just at home. We've had clients of my VA Rocks whose VAs have sat on Ticketmaster to get Taylor Swift tickets. We've
Yeah.
had VAs who help women run for local office as campaign and project managers. But of course,
Yeah.
in the working world, we regularly help executive women with email management and
Mm.
calendar management and travel management. There's so much
Yeah.
that we,
Yes.
that are sort of these ticky tacky administrative tasks that really we can get rid of,
Yeah.
and have
Absolutely.
it be done even better than we were doing it.
Yeah. 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 Because it's being done by people who love what they're doing, as opposed to
Mhm.
maybe
Yeah,
us who are doing it because we feel we have to. It's not
yeah.
because we love doing it. Okay, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And tell me about your orange living room, Ashley.
Well, I love talking about my orange living room. So I'm sitting actually in my office, which has
Which has got a
an
beautiful
in.
mural.
Thank
Amazing,
you,
by the way.
thank you,
Love it.
thank you. And this is not actually my orange. My orange living room was really truly orange, and I think sometimes I say that, and people imagine that I am referring to like a tasteful autumn pumpkin, but no, it was very orange, and it's probably exactly the orange you're afraid that it would be. And my husband painted our living room orange. I was in the middle of a job transition. I ended up going to um, Chicago. So I
Mhm.
worked 2.5 hours away from home, and I had a
Yes.
commuter apartment, which I think is very um, common in New York and probably London, but very uncommon here in the Midwest.
Right.
And
Okay.
my husband was, taking the the primary parenting spot for the first time, and I was going to be home only Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. And so he really wanted to make it his, and he wanted to make a
Yeah.
change. And he thought about it for a really long time and decided that he would do this wild orange, and not an accent wall, but most of their living room. And I certainly tried to suggest that maybe our living room should be any other color other than bright orange, and he was dead set on this being the way to go. And
Yeah.
I certainly could have said, absolutely not. We're not having an orange living room. I'm putting my foot
Yes.
down. But it would not have allowed him to make the space his and to change it so that he felt ownership in a different way about how the house
Mhm.
was kept and how it looked. And if I had done that, I would not have been able to go to Chicago. He wouldn't have been
Okay.
able to step in fully to his role, and I wouldn't have been able to safely step into my new role either, of being, the primary breadwinner, and someone who comes back Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for
Yeah.
for the most fun our family has had this week. And we tend to exert control over things like our kitchen and childcare in particular, and we think
Mm,
our partners can't do it as well as we can, and they do it differently than we do, certainly. And
yes.
sometimes that means we have to relax our expectations, but
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
think it actually means less relaxing of expectations and more recognizing where your partner is even better than you are at things. But part of
Yeah.
that also is, you know, you and I might know, uh, if you don't add chips to the list every week, there's a kiddo in your house that will absolutely freak out when they don't have as an after school snack.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you could exert control over all of those little preferences and all of those things, or you can let it go and let your partner figure it out and learn those things. And in my experience, often those they're better the everyone's needs are better met in a way
Yes.
that allows it allowed me to do something really big, take my dream job, and that led directly to me being able to fully go out on my own. So it was a wonderful transition, but that's my orange living room.
Okay, all right, yeah. It's got a history, but it's interesting, isn't it, how you share the story of your relationship with you and your husband, and yeah, those areas where we can be controlling and it's not necessary. And ultimately we all need our own space and to make it ours,
Hmm.
stamp on it so that we can continue living the life that we're supposed to. So I think it's really interesting that you share that because it's not a he or a she or a they, it's the partnership and
Yeah.
how that partnership works to both people's benefits. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I've got one final question to ask you, which I've been asking all of my interviewees, and this is Ashley, for the woman listening who feels hidden or unsure right now, well, the first part of it is, has there been a time in your life where you felt hidden or unsure, and how did you overcome that?
You know, I was raised by parents who expected me to live a big life, as they called it. And
Okay.
that didn't mean you have to go storm the corporate ladder and rise to the top quickly necessarily. It didn't mean that you um, were immensely wealthy or a great sports star. It just meant you lived big in whatever way that meant to you. And I did have a time in sort of my mid 20s where in the middle of putting my head down and working and learning and scraping along. I remember thinking, okay, this might just be life. And I was okay.
Yeah.
I was okay with that, I think. But that
Yeah.
didn't feel like me even at the time. And
Mm,
I think everyone, but women in particular, have this sense that our biggest dreams are very, very far away. And I like to give the example of, do you know how you get nominated for a Nobel Prize? You fill out the application. It's available
yeah.
online. And
Yeah.
there are all sorts of examples like that. When I ran sales teams, I used to have everyone tell me what their dream vacation is, the most extravagant, incredible vacation you could possibly imagine. And I priced out trips to the Amazon and trips to Disney, and let's take my
Yeah.
entire family on an Alaskan cruise. And the prices of those trips, even being pretty generous, they're not insane. They're not unattainable.
Yes.
Mostly they were two big commission checks. And if you really take
Hmm.
the time to figure out what exactly does it take to do the big things, writing a book is very much in this category. So many people think that that it is such an enormous hurdle, but
Yes.
Abby, I mean, it was a difficult task, but we did it, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think women so often talk about having a book inside them. And
Yes.
man, oh man, I have read some terrible drivel by men who are publishing whatever. And I
Hmm.
would really love
Hmm.
to see more of the brilliant women I know join the club, Abby.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that one, 100%. Oh, Ashley, thank you so much for, yeah, just sharing you and where you're at and your journey and what you're doing. And so, where can people find you if they want to find out more about you, if they want to link with you? Share your details.
Well, I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm just Ashley Quinto-Powell. You can also check out myVA Rocks at myva.rocks. And I would love to interact with all the folks. My book is available on Amazon and as an audiobook.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I knew it would be. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Abby.
bringing all of your colors, your beautiful, beautiful mural in the background, and the orange room. And until next time, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much again.